Welcome to everyone to the Pickleball Effect podcast. This is episode 58. I'm Braydon.
And I'm Kyle.
We missed last week. I was in Dallas. I got sick Friday night and I've just kind of been struggling ever since. So it was my fault we missed last week. I'm sorry. I'm starting to feel a little bit better, but still feeling a little bit down. My wife got sick too, but she got something else that I had, and now I think I'm starting to get what she has. So I might be starting round two. I know you've been feeling under the weather.
Yep. I think it's going around. Everybody's getting it.
Yeah, dude, it's frustrating. Nothing's more frustrating than being sick. Like, especially like you're just sick enough where it's knocking you down, but like, oh man, I feel decent. And then you go like work out and it just destroys you. And then,
well, no, and then we have kids, so it kind of just like rotates through the family. And then,
luckily, my kids haven't gotten anything yet. Surprisingly,
oh, that's good.
Usually, it starts with the kids and leads to
exactly.
us.
They come home with like a stuffy nose, and you're like, oh no,
it's happening. We're just pounding vitamin C right now, just trying to stay afloat. Your kids staying healthy?
I love it. Both of them have been a little sick, but they're finally getting over it. And now my wife is sick. She woke up sick this morning. So
you look sharp though. Did you
I
trim
did.
some
I
things?
did. I got trimmed up a little bit. I got like a fade. And,
all right, Kyle can look good.
I can get a haircut.
We're a little week late, but I'm still going to give some updates from Dallas because that was such a fun trip.
Yeah,
and then in Kyle Corner, what do you got?
Not a ton of stuff because I had a lot of stuff from Worlds, some like drama that went on with some calls. And then I had talked to a few brands, got a little information about what they're thinking they're going to do with the new fees.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
I'm not going to name drop the brands yet, but I'll let you know what the reception is with some of the medium, smaller size brands.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to hear. You haven't told me. I saw you have a note about that, but I don't know the details there. And then for Paddle, Babble, and Gear, we're going to talk X-rays a little bit. Some shoe impressions.
Yep, I brought the three. So one pair you don't have yet. It's being shipped, but the other ones that I've been testing. I don't know if you've been testing them.
No, yeah, I have. I've been playing with them, so it'll be fun to get some thoughts there. Then we have some first impression thoughts on the new Fire series from Course. We're talking about the Gearbox Ultimate Hyper and some other kind of fun topics from Reddit in Paddle, Babble, and Gear. So starting with the weekly update, just some things from Worlds. So I got there Wednesday night. Thursday night I played singles, or Thursday I played singles, and Thursday night was like that YouTuber battle. And I was so nervous for that YouTuber thing.
I could tell by watching you play that you were nervous. Yeah,
I was definitely a little tighter at the start, loosened up, started playing some decent pickleball, but it was going on at the same time as the celebrity thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so the celebrity thing had a huge crowd. We had some people there, but it wasn't, I didn't like fill the stands or thing. I didn't know what to expect there, but there were some people there, and it was grateful for everyone that showed up, that came and watched and got involved and were cheering. It was fun. But I guess, talking to the PPA guys afterwards, it was later. We kept pushing it back from like the planned time, but apparently it was like the highest streamed portion of the day on that grandstand court, which is cool.
Yeah, had the most streams.
Yeah, so like according to them, there was about 25,000 people that tuned in throughout the match, which is pretty, like, that feels pretty cool.
It's a lot of people watching. Yeah.
So that was fun. I got the first Burt of my life.
Yeah, that's when I could tell you started playing loose, when you hit the Burt.
I have never done that before. I don't know where that came from, but I got a Burt towards kind of like the middle of that second game and just kind of got lucky, just timed it right. I've never even attempted one.
Oh, it was clean.
And it was clean.
I liked it.
It was pretty funny. I need to go clip that because Aaron was right there filming.
Yeah, he got your like impression right after.
Yeah.
It was good. That was good.
So that was kind of fun. But I really enjoyed doing that. Hopefully we could do more of that in the future. Always fun playing with Brian. Brian was in the zone, dude. He was locked in. He was tight. He wanted to win that so bad. Of course I'm trying to have, play hard, but like still have fun and keep it light. And he was all business, man. He was locked in. He wanted to win that so bad. He had some really big plays and counters. I thought we played really well the second half of that second game. I wish we could have pulled that one out because we had the momentum on our side. And I had the winning ball on my paddle and I hit the fence with it.
Somebody commented on Discord and they were like, "Oh, Braydon," like
I hit a real nice speed up, get this little floater, and just hit
send
the fence
it to the wall. The pickleball trainer, Connor, right?
Yeah, Connor.
He posted like a video of Brian like warming up. Like he had like a full on warm up routine.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It was great. But yeah, appreciate everyone that showed up. That was really fun. Hopefully we can do more of that in the future. A couple other just little fun random things from that week. So I played Moneyball doubles Friday, and I played with Dalton Hess from Seattle. He's so fun to play with, just really lighthearted. We were just joking, having a good time. Make a mistake, it wasn't a big deal. And we played pretty well. We went 4-1, ended up taking third, which is like the first time I've medaled in like an open or 5-0 event in a while. Nice. So that felt good. But like kind of halfway through the day, we had just finished this match. Elise Jones and Tyra Black were warming up on the court next to us. They're getting ready for their quarterfinal match. And Adam Stone walks over, starts hitting with them. There's 3 of them. We had just finished, and I know Elise, and so they needed a fourth to get some like warm up points in. So Elise like, Braydon, come play some points with us. And I was like, oh yeah, let's do this.
Definitely.
So, like I've played with some pros before, but never when they're like
in the zone,
and like they're prepping for a match, they're getting ready to go. And so it was this like new dynamic where it was me and Adam against Elise and Tyra, and they were going hard. They were going for their stuff. And it was really fun. I actually played like good. Like I felt good about how I played and like put some pressure on them and made them make some points. But they just get everything back. Everything's a little bit harder. Everything's a little bit tighter. I did get an ATP on them though. That felt good.
Nice.
But it was really fun to just get blasted by them and just kind of be on the court when they're in the zone. They're playing and they're going at it. And they end up winning that match. Then they win their go to the semifinals. Lost the semis, but ended up taking bronze. So like I feel like I contributed to that bronze.
You got them warm. That partnership is like my favorite women's partnership on the tour right now.
Yeah, they're fun. Why do you say that?
Because I feel like they just get everything back, and both of them will absolutely kill themselves to keep a ball in play.
Yeah. Yep.
Which I love. Like they're just both gritty, get down in the dirt players.
Yeah. That's them to a T. They're really fun to watch. And both just super cool humans. All right. So took third in Moneyball. We're going to play a game. Guess the podium paddles. Between first, second, third. So there's 6 paddles on the podium. What do you think they were?
Mod TA, 1-3S, and a Ripple.
That's pretty close. So the first place team both had Gearbox Ultimates.
Oh, okay.
Second place team had a Mod TA and a 3S.
Okay. And
then third place, I had the Paddle Tech, and then Dalton plays with the Ruby.
No, man, you guys are.
But like it was paddle. I mean, there were so many Mod TAs in the event in general at all levels. I was shocked. Like there's not a ton of mods here.
No, not really.
I feel like mod kind of has like a bad vibe.
I was going to say,
area.
I feel like people here kind of give you a little bit of some gruff if you've got the mod TA.
Yeah, they do. And so for whatever reason, I don't even know where that came from. Maybe it was us. I don't know. But yeah, there is that kind of bad vibe around the mod. But at this event, they were just everywhere, and a lot of them were probably broken.
Yep.
And it was wild. I couldn't believe how many mods there were. Still a lot of paddle techs, a lot of gearboxes still, just a lot of power paddles.
Did you see a lot of ripples?
No, I don't think I saw a single ripple actually.
Oh, wow.
I did just get new ripples in the mail. So the originals I had a little wave to the face.
Yeah, so did mine.
So the new ones are totally flat.
Interesting.
So I don't think that wave was legal because you're not allowed to have any sort of indentations.
I didn't think so either.
So they reformulated it. I don't know. I haven't hit them yet. I just barely got them. I need to go play them. Like I already have that review like pretty much done.
Oh, that's a bummer.
And so I need to go see if it plays any different and maybe shoot like some new B-roll and stuff because the old one had the wave in it.
Yeah, and like it's super visible. Like when I got them in the mail, I even took a picture of it like from the side because you could see the waves.
Yeah. So they apparently fixed that, and that will. I don't even know when they're launching that. I'm assuming December sometime, but
to be announced.
Not bad on the guesses though, but that was a fun little game. And then last note, I thought this was funny for some reason. So I had VIP tickets, and there's like a special area, like bathroom sectioned off for VIP people.
Okay.
Next to the commoners' bathroom.
Next to the peasants.
Next to the peasants. But there was literally like a volunteer standing guard at the VIP bathrooms where you can't go in unless you have your pass. And anyways, I just thought that was so funny for some reason. But overall, the event, really, really enjoyed it. Like I've been to a handful of PPAs right now, and most of them have been kind of so-so with like courts and things like that. But this one, it was like really well run. Like when you're there, the games were moving fast. There's plenty of courts. The nets were nice. The courts were nice. They had indoor and outdoor kind of. So on the day it rained, we still got our games in on the indoor location or courts. Tons of stuff going on, plenty of food, lots of bathrooms. Bathrooms was an issue last year, I guess.
Yeah, I heard about that, and toilet paper.
Yeah, and so like it was just a really well-run event, really, really fun. The grandstand courts had a lot of stands, so like a lot of seating, and they were really nice. And then the championship court was just massive.
It was big.
Like just the stands were huge, and like the viewing and the seating and all that stuff was like really, really cool. They did a really good job there.
How did you feel about the lighting? I know there were some people complaining about the lighting. Did it seem bright enough? I mean, because you played at night, the content creator. Was there any visibility issues for you?
I mean, it's just playing at night. Like anywhere else, I didn't feel like.
So some of these pros might just be a little picky.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they could be nicer, but I didn't feel like it bothered me.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not crazy.
Well, I was like
picky about it, I guess.
I was like curious, like a normal person playing pickleball. Like,
no, I thought it was fine.
Okay.
And then, but yeah, like I think if you're gonna plan to go to an event that's a PPA one, and you're gonna travel for one, like I'd put this one on your list. This is it's the best PPA event I've been to so far.
Did you go to any of the concerts or anything?
Like, they were just going the whole time. There was just people playing.
Oh man, I'm going next year. I'm going next year.
The concerts weren't really, as far as I could tell, that wasn't really like a hit.
Okay.
There wasn't like a ton of people sitting down and just listening and vibing out to those. I mean, people were moving and stuff, and I don't know if the concerts were needed. Like the only like drawbacks really this year is they had one. You know how they always had that huge water bucket. And
I saw Brian post about this.
Yeah, so like the venue is really big.
Yeah.
So they put the water like on one extreme end.
Yep.
And then, so if you were like watching grandstand over here, you had to walk across the entire venue to go fill up your water bottle. If it was in the middle somewhere, I think it would have been fine. Or if they had two of them, it wasn't like a huge deal, but it was a little bit annoying. The only other annoying thing was just like shuttles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they had like dedicated parking at a community college, and you'd get shuttled to and from the venue. And that was just overcrowded. They just needed more buses. And so that was a little bizarre. I ended up just finding, so like when you drive up to Brookhaven, the venue, like there's just signs everywhere. Like, oh, you can't park in the streets where, the public is, the houses and stuff. But if you kind of go in the neighborhood far enough, the signs stop and you can park and walk in. And so that's what I ended up doing. And that was the play.
Okay.
So you had to find a way to skirt the system there.
You want to go again this year or next year?
Yeah, I think it's a must.
Okay.
And like the house we were in was really fun. A bunch of creators. Met Justin.
Nice.
He's a really cool dude. He's got a really nice little squat backhand flick that can do some damage.
Nice.
And so he was fun to play with, and just everyone there. Like Aaron was there. It was just really fun.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, I really wish you could have came
next year. This next year, I'm gonna plan to go to like 5 events.
Yeah, well, we need to sit down and look at others.
Yeah.
That's but I think we should put that one on the list. All right, let's. Do you have anything else for weekly updates?
No,
I did like a DUPR event on Friday, right?
I did. Well, this last Friday, and it's the largest move I've ever had in DUPR in a long time. So the algorithm definitely changed.
What did you win all your games?
No, and that's what's crazy. So that day, like when me and you played DUPR, we went like 5-1, and this is before that new algorithm changed. We went 5-1, and I felt like my DUPR didn't move at all.
Yeah, I don't think mine moved really either.
Okay, so then I played, and I went 4-3, and I went from 4-2-0 to like 4-3-8.
Nice. Yeah, it's almost a 2-point jump.
Yeah, and I was playing with like somebody rated 3-7.
Yeah, when you are playing with someone rated lower than you, you benefit more from it.
So because I'm lower than you, did yours? That's what I'm saying. I felt like before the algorithm changed, yours didn't move that much when you played with me.
Yeah, but I still think it moved up and down more than yours
mine did. Okay, and is DUPR assuming your win or loss is due to that better player?
It seems like it.
Okay.
I think we talked a little bit about last time how like if you win, it's because the higher DUPR
carried you.
If you lose, it's because the lower DUPR sucked.
which is not always the case.
No, not at all. But that's just like how they like to do it.
Got a nice little bump and duper. We got a official Dink minor league pickleball event coming to town.
Oh, really?
Did you get a team yet? Did you even know about it?
No. What is this?
December 7th. There's going to be DUPR 14, 16, 18, 20 at the Flying Pickle. 6 teams allowed for DUPR 20, 9 teams allowed for DUPR 18, etc. And then all the money is going to a charity. I can't remember which one it is, but
nice.
But it's like an official thedink.com minor league pickleball event.
Dude, that's sweet. So no, I'll go look that up. Unfortunately, my DUPR barely jumped up above 5. I'm like 5.003.
Okay.
So if I was like 4.9, I think I'd be considered a 4.5.
No, it doesn't matter because you can still play. Like a DUPR 18 team can have a 5.09 player or something like that. Like you can actually still play. Like it's not capped. It might actually be 5.1.
Well,
because it's your collective.
Are you on a team?
Yeah, I grabbed a team.
Okay.
Well, what's funny is like as soon as I saw it, because girls are so like in demand,
right?
I started like doing math like the second it was announced. So I'm like, all right, Kyle plus Susanna plus Dom plus Maria. We were like perfect 20. So then I texted Susanna. I'm like, she's probably not gonna play minor league, and she didn't text me back. So then I started doing math with other girls, and I found like an 18 that was like perfect. So I made an 18 team, and then Susanna the next day is like, I would have played, and I'm like, it's like too late. She's like, so you texted me, and then you went and got another team.
Well, sweet, dude.
So
if anything, I'll come watch.
Yeah. No, you gotta play. Get a team together.
I don't know. I just got above 5. Like, I might retire there. just hold on to that.
Protect the DUPR.
No, I don't care as much about DUPR as I used to. Because like if you care too much, then you're a little like it's not as you're a little protective of like who you play with, what events, and like that's not fun. Like just go play, you know. That's
what I've been doing. That's why like I just started doing the Friday thing. So I'm like, I don't care if I go up or down.
Whatever.
I'm there to have fun.
Exactly. That's how I see it now.
So
all right, Kyle's Corner.
All right. So I talked to a couple brands about the fee change with not necessarily the fee change, the pro licensing fee mainly for UPA-A. And they said there's the brands I talked to are out. And they said there's collective brands talking to each other about being out.
Oh, so they're like they don't colluding together, like coming up with a plan.
Yeah, I don't have all the details. So obviously they don't want to tell me because I'm going to talk about it on a podcast. But they just said that they don't see the value in that $50,000 per licensing fee.
Were there any, do you know if there were any in there that had a pro?
There are some that have qualifiers.
And they're still deciding to say no.
Yes.
I think that's the right move.
Yeah. I don't think there was any that have like an active, and I say there's pros that I don't know, obviously. There was nobody that has like a main name pro.
Sure.
But like I said, I think we're just going to see less brands in the pro game, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, there'll be less brands. Like we kind of assumed last time, our guess is like all those qualifier people, they're just not going to have sponsors and they're going to play Paddle Techs or YOLOs or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So that was an interesting thing. Kind of saw it coming.
On that same note though, there's a small brand called Triple J that said
that's the hook, right?
The hook, okay. Yeah. So they made an announcement a day or two ago saying that they're just dropping out. They're going to stop. They're closing the doors. Like they're just closing the doors. Yeah.
Oh wow.
They didn't cite specifically what they just said due to changing like environment or whatever. So I'm assuming it's just prices. They're just not able to keep up with that sort of thing. Well, I mean, they're still kind of in that upstart mode, trying to gain traction. And when you're in that mode and you're not moving 50 paddles a day or whatever, it gets tough.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you're that small and you make one order and then all of a sudden a rule changes, like you could get shut down anyway.
Yeah. And so that was the first like official announcement I've seen of a brand saying we're closing shop. Okay. And I wonder if we're going to see more of those.
I think so. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. Next gen. We were all talking, this was a Discord discussion. I kind of want to get your take on this.
Okay.
So the point of APP Next Gen is to basically showcase upcoming talent. Do you think 23 is too old to be considered next gen?
Yes.
Okay. Well, and I didn't know if you'd agree or not. I just kind of wanted to, because I was thinking, I'm like, there's going to be some, mainly in the men's, because I actually went through and looked at men versus women. There's some very young women that are still being like up high in the ranks, but the men are very heavy, 20 plus years old. So I'm like, I feel like some of these younger kids are probably getting overshadowed.
Yeah, you know, I know why they have that rule. When they first started it 2 years ago, there just wasn't that many juniors playing, and they needed to expand the age limit.
Okay.
So that more kids would sign up, more people would sign up.
That makes sense.
But now things have changed. Like the junior scene is dramatically different than it was 2 years ago. There's a lot more juniors. There's a lot of people training for pickleball. Like there's kids who are traveling. They have coaches. Like they're doing this thing for real.
It's awesome.
And a lot of those kids are in the next gen, and a lot of them are younger. And they could change that right now. I think they could, and they'd still have plenty of talent to compete in those and still be super competitive.
I'll be interested to see if they change it. I didn't look it up, but I meant to look up the PPA Junior Tour and see if it was the same age restrictions, but I didn't get around to that.
I don't know the PPAs.
Because they have PPA Juniors too. So.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, it was some big drama at Worlds. Did you see the Matt and Fed appeal?
A little bit. Tell me about it.
So there's a foot fault called. They appealed it. Didn't get the answer they wanted, so they appealed it higher. Didn't get the answer they wanted.
So the first appeal came back as like,
I can't overrule that.
Can't overrule that.
Yeah, like foot fault, and they appealed it, and they appealed the foot fault.
So the team that challenged it appealed the challenge,
essentially. So
you can do that.
Well, that was the question. Like, and where does the challenge stop? And like Travis Rettmeyer went on a thing like he's never seen somebody like appeal it to the ref say something, and then somebody come and then overrule that ref that wasn't even there.
Oh, so the appeal worked.
Yes. That's why there was so much drama, because they basically didn't get the answer they wanted, appealed it higher, and somebody came and overruled the ref.
chief judge, chief ref.
Well, there was jokes. They were like, they went from the ref to the head ref all the way to Connor, like until they could get the answer. And they were like, Matt's a lawyer and he's just, playing the lawyer card. But I think a rule should be, I mean, refs are always going to make bad calls, but it's got to stop somewhere.
Yeah. So. Was it like a critical juncture of the game?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So that's probably why they were fighting.
It was a big foot fault.
Interesting. So I don't know. What's your take on it? Like,
I just think a rule needs to be changed that you can't, like the ref, what the ref says is what the ref, like, that's how I played sports my whole life. Like, you don't, like, it sucks if the ref says something but you don't agree with, but you have to deal with it. Like, sports.
Sports. Oh, that's funny.
So that was really it. I did have a note about what were your favorite partnerships? I feel like we're seeing a lot of new partnerships right now.
Oh, the Anna Bright Fraser one's a fun one.
Yeah, that's a fun. I mean, that's a throwback.
Yeah, that's a throwback. They've been, they just won.
This week. Yes, they won this week.
This isn't necessarily a favorite one, but this was a funny one. I watched Ignatowicz and Alshon play against Kwong and CJ Klinger, and they were just so out of sync. It was hilarious. Like they were just making like mistakes that like you and I would make.
It's funny.
That was a funny one. I don't think they're ever going to play together again. I don't know. The Fraser Anna Bright was the only one that kind of comes to mind.
Okay, that was a good one. I would say that one was a really good one. I actually really liked. Who did I just see play? I actually liked Tyra and Hayden.
Oh yeah.
That was
dude.
fun.
Hayden, he's on the rise. Right
he's
now.
An X factor, like with everybody. Like
dude, he's so good. He's so fun to watch live. He is so aggressive. Has like the hands of a Greek god.
And he's like a little guy, but he puts out some power.
He can smack it, dude. It's so impressive watching him. Like I did watch one of his matches. It was him against Alshon. I forget who their partners were, but I just remember watching them just go at it. And like they hit the ball so hard and they still just reset it. And I'm just like, how do they do that? And it is, I mean, I've said this a million times, but like it is so fun watching the pros in person.
Oh, in person. It's so much faster.
So fast and so impressive. And I still think it's impressive on TV. A lot of people say it doesn't translate as well, but I think it's impressive.
I think the biggest thing, like when we went down to Salt Lake City, my biggest thing was like counters in person look faster than on TV. Like,
100%. hand battles in general.
I was just like, whoa. Like to me, the drives like that didn't really look different. Like they look hard on TV too, but
the net stuff was something else.
Absolutely. And then last thing I saw your tape, Kate Fahey won singles.
Dude, she's been on fire.
Yeah.
Tungsten tape gets another gold.
There you go. Tungsten tape takes the gold.
She's so fun. There was one match, so she was playing Paris Todd on a grandstand court at Worlds, and she was down, and so me and Aaron sit down, and no one cheers, dude. Like no one jeers, no one cheer. Everyone's just so polite at these things. I'm like, this, you see me, dude. I like to chirp and get loud and get involved. And so I'm a fan of Kate. And so I was cheering for Kate. Like when she'd make stuff, I'd be like, yeah, Kate. Paris can't touch you. You're the best person. It's just stuff like that. Like, I'm not like saying derogatory things at Paris, but like I'm saying Kate's better than you, Or like I'm cheering on Kate. And it was like the funnest match we watched the whole time. Kate had like a comeback and she ended up winning, and she's very emotional, like very intense.
Oh yeah.
And when you cheer for her, she hears it and she plays better. And like Aaron was like getting embarrassed with me, like cheering. Aww. And like Hunter Johnson, Paris's boyfriend kept like looking back at me, and I'm like, what are you gonna do, dude? I'm just cheering.
Oh, that's funny.
I kept, you always get some odd looks from people around you, but
did you get a reaction out of Paris?
She never looked at me, but she had to hear me.
Well, did you see like somebody was cheering? Leia was playing doubles, and like Leia turns right after the point, and she's like, "Shut up! Are you playing?"
I don't like that. I think people should cheer and get involved. I don't know. Like when I go to any sporting event that's like not pickleball, the crowd is so loud and they cheer for their team. And
other than tennis,
and pickleball has a very tennis-y vibe right now when it comes to the cheering.
I like the cheering too,
and I think the cheering's fun. It's like it's okay to pick sides.
I play better with the cheering.
I just like whenever I watch a match, I just randomly pick a side if I don't particularly care what the outcome is, and I just cheer for that person.
I love it.
Like, I don't know. I think it's more fun that way.
I love it. What do you guys think? Should pickleball be quieter during the points like tennis, or should we be rowdy?
Yeah, or somewhere in the middle. At least louder when it's like sometimes on like center court, especially when Ben plays. Whenever Ben plays, it's so quiet for some reason.
Yeah, they're all just watching the goat.
Yeah, I don't know. But for whatever reason, he makes things quiet and it's not as loud and not as much cheering going on. And I don't know, it feels kind of awkward a little bit when you're in the stands and it's a little quiet. It's like, I want a little bit of noise.
I know. That's how I am.
All right, paddle, babble, and gear. We're going to talk x-rays. We'll do your shoe impressions and then some paddle thoughts. So
sweet.
Big shout out to Jeremy K. Actually, I don't know how to say his last name. I feel
good
bad. Luck. Jeremy's been great. He's a local dude here, plays a lot, owns like a marketing agency, and he's been like just so helpful to me. Where I talked to him a decent amount about different things I have going on to get his opinion, and like, he kind of helped with a new little lighting setup we have going on today. And he's just a really sharp dude, and he's been just so helpful. So I put out like a call on the local Discord asking if anyone knows like a chiropractor or someone I could potentially get x-rays from for paddles. And Jeremy was like, I know a guy. So
it was like instantly.
Yeah, it was like instantly. It's like that day. Like I put out the call like 10 a.m. He's like, bro, I got a thing lined up at 1.
Meet you at noon. Yeah.
So we went over to his friend's chiropractor place, and we chatted. We took some x-rays of a handful of paddles, and he said I can come back if I ever need to for more.
Awesome.
So I got a source to get these x-rays. And these x-rays are really, really interesting. And so one thing I learned from these so far is I took an x-ray of the Vatic Pro Saga, and then I borrowed an x-ray from John Q of the TKO Bantam.
Okay.
So we had talked about the Saga being like a 10 millimeter cell. We thought it was like a Bantam mimic of their core. But when you look at the x-rays, the Saga, the cells are actually, they're visibly smaller than the Paddle Techs.
Yep.
And so I messaged Daryl over at Vatic. I was like, hey, I thought, you guys are doing bigger cells. And he kind of told me how he measures from like the middle of the cell wall and how the cell walls are a little bit thicker. So it's going to make them look a little bit smaller. And he's like, if I were to use my method and measure it the same way, Paddle Tech does, theirs would be 12 millimeters. And so it kind of brought to light that they're not just doing this mimic of paddle tech. It's their own thing. He's like, I tested a bunch of different cores. This is the one I like the most. We're importing these presumably from the States. We don't really know where to his China factory, and they're making them there. But so these X-rays kind of brought to light something there that was really interesting. And so we'll keep doing these, and
I'll throw them up on the screen for people to see during the podcast.
Yeah, they're really enlightening, and I've included them in a couple of different reviews now. And I think it's John Q was the first one to start doing this.
Yeah,
and I thought it was a really clever way to look at the guts without tearing apart the paddle.
Yeah, it's ways in us chopping them up with a table saw.
And just like a little spill on cores and like cell size. So my theory now is like I guess stepping back, the majority of paddles are going to be either 8 millimeter or 6 millimeter wide, like the cells like opening. And so the paddle tech is using bigger cells with a little bit thinner walls, and they hit a little bit harder. My theory is that there's just less resistance to the ball. It's going to flex a little more. It's going to rebound, trampoline a little more, give you a little more power that way. Plus, it makes the paddle a little bit lighter because it's just not quite as dense. But then the drawback is it's going to be a little more susceptible to like developing dead spots, things like that, just because there's not as much material there. There's not much structure. So you have a little give and take there on the core. The denser you go, it kind of gives it like a more board-like, maybe a little bit more stability because there's a little more weight there in the face. And so there's kind of pros and cons to going back and forth between those different sizes. I'm still kind of learning like what it means exactly, but just based off my experience so far, that's kind of how I feel like the cell size makes a difference. This is something that brands haven't really like been transparent about until kind of recently. We're just kind of seeing like this as an advertisement on some of these smaller brands to speak to the performance of the paddles. So there's just so many little nuances that you don't see. Like we just see 16 millimeter or 14 millimeter core, but the core can be oriented a little bit differently. The pattern can be a little bit different. The cell thickness can be a little bit different. The cell size can be different. The actual like hardness of the plastic can be different. You can have softer and harder plastics. Like the paddle techs, Justin kind of discovered that they're a little bit softer and they melt a little bit quicker under heat. And so that could also be another contributing factor of why those are a little springier, a little hotter, is because they are softer, can compress a little bit more. The engages are known for being a little bit softer, and those can get a little more power. So there's a lot of elements to the cores that we're kind of learning about, the nuances that go into that and how that affects performance. And we'll see if that catches on, and if brands start, being more transparent on what type of core they're using. And there's always this battle of like wanting to be transparent with your consumers, but also trying to kind of keep your secret sauce. Yeah. And, but like a year ago, we never saw anybody reporting on like the number of facing layers, the type of facing. Now you see that all the time because it describes the performance of the paddle. And
like if somebody's like CFC, you understand, like, you have an expectation of what you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it's a good thing. I think the more information, the better.
I do too.
I'm a fan of it. But we'll keep paying attention to that stuff with X-rays.
I do think you exposed that there's not a standard, like with the measurements. Like there's no gold standard of how people are measuring cells.
Yeah, there isn't right now.
So I think that would be helpful to us, like the consumer.
Yeah, because like Vatic Pro is saying this is a 10 millimeter,
but they measure it differently.
But they measure it differently.
Exactly.
And so we have like a private chat with Justin and a few others, and Justin from Pickleball, etc., went and cut his paddles open and used like a caliper just to measure the opening. And if you measure the opening of the Vatic Sagas, it's 8 millimeters. And the cells they're using are bigger than what they've used in the past with like their Prism series and whatnot. So it is like a jump up that from what they previously used, but depending on how you measure it, to me, I feel like the opening.
Yeah, when you tell me 10 millimeter, I would assume that the cell from wall to wall is 10 millimeter.
Yeah, not the center of the wall, like the inside of the wall.
Correct. Yeah.
Like that's a thing. But then you can also say my cell wall is 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters. Like that could be like a separate measurement.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're getting super nerdy.
Yeah. And so that's interesting and kind of a new development. Hopefully we start to see more transparency around that in the future. All right. Shoe impressions. This is something you brought up a little while ago. You've had some shoes sent out to both of us. Tell us what you've been testing, what you think of them.
First, we have the Frankworks The One. So, a few things I noticed about this shoe. You you've tried the shoe as well, so you can
I
give your
have.
thoughts. That does a great job locking your heel in. Has kind of like a heel lock, like bump in the back that holds your foot down. I do think the outsole is a little like it's very big. It does feel like you're riding a little high off the court. It fits like a glove though, like it's super comfortable. My only worry, and again, I needed more time to test on this, like, is the durability. I'm a toe dragger. I'm curious to see if I rip through this knit.
Yeah, I mean, it does have the higher kind of sidewalls, maybe to protect that. It has some stuff here.
So I think that should help with toe dragging, that you're not actually hitting that knit upper.
I mean, you're not really toe dragging on this side. It's usually on the inside.
Yeah. Well,
do you tear here?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. If I showed you my Skechers,
I never tear there.
If I showed you my Skechers, I actually can wave at you with my toes.
How are you moving your feet, dude?
I'm just all over the place.
Like, yeah, where does that come from? Your pressure of your foot stressing that from side to side?
That's possible too. Just
or is it dragging?
Big lateral movements. But yeah, I actually busted through. No, that's another thing is I don't know if it's dragging or if it's busting through. So
I would think on this side it's from busting through like pressure from the lateral movement rather than the dragging, especially if it's higher on the face. That's just my guess. I don't know.
That makes sense. So for me, the pros with this was like super comfortable. It's actually pretty roomy in the toe box. Cons, it's kind of weird to put on. And
this is a Velcro here, so you can kind of change the tightness a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. You got one Velcro.
Yeah. So that kind of acts like shoelaces.
Yeah. When you pull it tight, it's kind of like those old school New Balances, you know, you're out there barbecuing. And, but what'd you think?
Yeah. Same price, like extremely comfort. Like these are comfort shoes. The heel lock is like, it's kind of cool. Like when you look at these, you're like, oh man, these are going to feel flimsy.
Yep.
But it has like this really nice structure to the heel where it feels really tight. Definitely room in the toe box. I have a tighter, a narrower foot, so it's a little too wide for me. But I know a lot of people like the wider there. You know, for shoes, I'd like them a little lower to the ground. These are very tall.
They are tall, very tall,
and that made it a little more challenging for the lateral movement. I definitely felt like a more like I had to work harder to not roll my ankle.
Got it.
When I'm moving side to side. And so that I didn't like that. But the pro to that is it's extremely comfortable, very soft footbed. When you're like the forward movement, the split steps are all very comfortable. But the lateral was a little more challenging with these. So that's why I didn't gravitate to them, because they were just so tall and high off the ground. But other than that, like they felt extremely comfortable. They were snug. The lock in the heel was really unique and nice. You don't get that with a lot of shoes. And I like the 3/4, dude. Like I don't see a reason why more brands aren't doing that for a little extra stability, because you're not moving quite as much as you are in like tennis. I think the extra stability, like if you're restricting the ankles to protect those a little bit, I think that's fine. Like I don't think that hurts your movement much.
I would agree.
Yeah, for me, like I wore them once and I was like, I can't do this again just because of the lateral movement. But there are some pros to them if you like that like extra comfortable shoe.
So I would say comfort, because I played like 4 hours in it. And then sometimes if I play 4 hours in like an aggressive shoe, like my feet hurt a little bit. I'm a bigger dude. My feet felt like I hadn't even played.
Yeah.
So like that was like the biggest pro. But yeah, Frank Works the one.
The one. But yeah, like that's a clever, unique, it's their own design. Which
exactly.
Cool.
It's different.
All right, what are your next ones?
The Cypher. All right. Color.
Those still look new, dude.
I know. They're holding up good. I've actually played a lot with these. And I'm seeing some more guys play with them at the club.
Okay, cool.
Same color. They look great, pro. These were way too roomy. And I actually have a pretty medium width foot. I think there's too much room here for me.
Okay.
I had to actually put an insole in these to make this shoe feel like it fit my foot. But again, I had talked to the owner. He designed this to be comfortable and for your average rec player to just wear the crap out of these. So another one, it wasn't designed to be super.
Not like a performance shoe. It's like a durability comfort shoe.
You're not supposed to be sliding in these. So.
Yeah, one thing I noticed with these is there's a little more dramatic like heel to toe drop than most shoes. And so you like when I put my foot in, like I noticed that like immediately that I was kind of on my toes a little bit, which can be a pro and a con. Like I think that kind of helps with like the forward movement and like staying on your toes. But it is a little different feel than your typical just kind of flat.
So you like the zero drop, like where it's all just straight?
Either straight or just like a little bit. This one was just more pronounced than most. And so I noticed that. But like other than that, like I thought they were really comfortable, extremely breathable.
Yeah, no, exactly. Extreme breathability. Did they feel too roomy for you though, or did you actually feel?
You know,
Weird.
I didn't think they were. I mean, they were a little bit, but
Okay.
no more than like the Frank's work. Frank works.
When I put these on, I was like, oh, Braydon's gonna hate these because I felt like I had so much room.
But I mean, I would prefer a narrower shoe.
Narrow shoe.
For me.
Then I have the perfect shoe for you.
But I thought it was a good shoe. Like I can see why people like these.
Yeah, no, it's a great shoe, and I know they went. Pay attention to the sales. These go on sale like they were like half off like 2 weeks ago or something. Were they? Like okay. Yeah, so like that's a crazy good deal.
Super comfortable. Like you didn't quite get the heel lock that you did like with some other stuff, but very comfortable.
All right, this shoe does it all. This is the shoe.
I feel bad because this is the one you like the most.
Yeah, so take a look at these because you haven't seen them yet.
No, yeah, I haven't played these.
So they have like an internal booty.
Okay.
Which is pretty nice. It keeps like it really.
Adidas likes to do that.
It's lower to the ground.
Very sturdy, almost kind of Wilson-y look.
Exactly, they're very sturdy and like pretty aggressive rubber. And again, like everybody wearing it because JW wears these, Colin Schick, Brooke Buckner, and Georgia.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're all sponsored. I guess I don't know.
I don't know. They only list Brooke Buckner and Colin Schick on the website as sponsored.
Oh, really? So it's possible that
the
other guys just like these?
Exactly. So the other guys just might be wearing them. But what I did think was really cool that I got to tell about this. So the brand is Winner's Edge. The founder, his name is Hank, and he's a former Navy guy like me.
Okay.
100% of the proceeds of his money is donated to charity, which I thought was super cool.
Oh, I love that.
His only son passed away, suffered from addiction. Jeez. He was a musician. So 100% of his proceeds from these shoes, the whole company, goes to a foundation that basically provides underprivileged kids with music lessons, instruments, stuff like that.
Dude, how cool is that? It kind of gives you the chills a little.
Oh, I know. I was blown away. I was like, all right, I love you. Like, that's why I got a discount code. I'm like, you're hurting me with that story. Because I already liked the shoe. Now, performance wise, these are a little narrower. When I put them on at first, I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to play these. Played like 2 games, and now they fit like they're amazing. Like
they kind of adjusted to your foot?
They broke in perfectly. So I'm super excited for you to try this shoe.
That's cool. You know, a lot of shoes don't do that anymore.
No.
Like they're meant to be like comfortable right as you put them on. They don't really have a break-in, but there are I kind of like the break-in.
Yeah.
Like those are the ones that form
to your foot
the best. And long term, I feel like the performance is better.
And that's exactly, I felt like it basically formed to my foot. And now when I put them on, I'm like, these are super comfortable.
They feel kind of heavy. Do they feel heavy?
They are a little heavy, but they're pretty, I need to put them on a scale, but they are definitely heavier than I think the other 2 shoes.
You know, weight probably isn't as big of a factor in pickleball as it is in tennis.
I mean,
just because you're not covering as much court.
Singles, it might be more.
Singles, sure. But yeah, like for doubles, maybe that's not quite the priority.
So
well, cool. I'm excited to try those. What a cool company.
Winner's Edge.
All right, before we jump into our first thoughts on the Chorus Fires and the Gearbox Ultimate Hyper, there was this thread I saw on Reddit that brought up an interesting topic I wanted to discuss with you here. So this guy is giving a review of the Monarch All-Court. He's like, I love this thing. And he previously had the TKO Bantam, which is a hotter paddle.
Yes, for sure.
And he was saying he could get just as much power with the Monarch All-Court as he could the Bantam. And like, I'm not saying he couldn't, but I'm just trying to think, okay, why was either his perception or why did he get just as much power from the All-Court Monarch versus the Bantam when we know the Bantam is much hotter? And so I put some thought into this. Do you have any first impressions on why you think that was their experience with the paddle?
I think very differently. So go ahead, give me your thoughts. I have kind of a cynical view on why he said that.
Okay, so this is my thought on that is, it took me back to this experiment I did, like must have been a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. So I did like a power test across shapes.
Okay.
And I did it. And then Joe Bulanani is another guy from, him. So at the time he was like a 3-5 player and I was probably like a 4-5 player. So we did some power tests across all the Selkirk Vanguards. They had like 4 shapes at the time. They had like their Omni, their Epic, their S2, and then their Invicta. And there was like this kind of linear relationship where like the shorter the paddle, the shorter the handle, the less power you could get, the longer the paddle, the longer the handle, the more power you could get.
Like leverage.
Yeah, just leverage, right? So when I looked at my results, I increasingly got more power as I went up the shapes. But with Joe, he actually got more power with the wider body shapes than he did the longer ones.
Ooh.
And my theory was, of the 10 measurements we got with the elongated shapes, because they had the tighter sweet spot from side to side, he was generating less power on average
because he wasn't consistent
in finding the sweet spot. Where the sweet spot is bigger on the Epic. Although when you hit the sweet spot right on the Invicta or the longer shape, you can generate more power.
Mm-hmm.
However, on average, he was generating more power with the more forgiving Epic shape. And I think that might have been the case here, where this guy, maybe because like there's a fairly dramatic drop off in the sweet spot from the TKO between the sweet spot and the edges.
Yes.
They're not known for being overly forgiving. And when you find that sweet spot on the TKO, it rips, but there is that drop off. And if you're not consistently finding the sweet spot, you're like, man, this power isn't giving me anything. And so when he was playing with the All-Court, it's more forgiving. It still has decent power, but he's finding more power more often because the sweet spot's bigger, and his off-center shots are giving him more with the All-Court than his off-center with the TKO. And so that was giving him the perception that the Monarch was just as hard-hitting as the TKO. That was my take on it. What are your first thoughts?
I do agree with that. And I think that's why I try to steer people towards more beginner players. I do try to steer them towards more forgiving shapes, because if you are hitting that sweet spot more consistently, it's going to feel like a better paddle regardless. And your shots are going to be better. I get worried when I look at Reddit stuff like that, though. I'm always like, and it's like a well-known paddle, and somebody's like, this paddle's better, though. I'm always like, you going to throw your discount code down? Or
yeah, maybe.
Because I see a lot of that, especially in
I don't
Discord.
remember if he put down his discount code or whatever, but no, I think that's.
But I agree with your assessment. I'm always very weary of people's reviews when they're very like, this is better than this. I'm just like,
sure. I mean, maybe he was doing that, but he was just saying, at least the portion I read was, he's like, this was my previous paddle, and this is the paddle I have now. This is why I like it more than my previous one.
Okay.
But people do like to kind of bash on whatever.
But I know the TKO is a rocket when you hit the sweet spot.
No, yeah, it totally is. And like when I first read it, I was like, either this guy doesn't know what he's doing, but then, as I thought about it, I was okay, it could be possible his experience was that way because of the same result I got with Joe 2 years ago when I did that power experiment. So I do think if you want more power and you're kind of maybe that intermediate beginner level, and you're like, oh, I want the Mod TA, or I want the paddles like Bantam because I want that big juice. Yes, you're going to get bigger juice when you hit it right, but on average, you're going to get more power with a more forgiving paddle.
Yes.
Whether it be maybe even the standard shape of the paddle text or an all-court or something along those lines. So something to consider for people seeking power, and they think they can find it in those huge power paddles. When maybe in reality, it's a combination of power plus forgiveness if you really want that consistent power. All right. Let's talk about the fire paddles. You played with these, right?
I did. I've only played with two shapes so far. I've played with the EX and the HX. Yeah, the hybrid. I haven't tried the SX yet.
Okay. So this is a new series coming out from Chorus. November 30th, I believe, is when this comes out. It's going to retail for $169.99. This is going to be their power series. So it's a 14 millimeter. It's just like a really clever compilation of existing materials. So they have they're doing the wider cell, the X-rays I took of this one does look like a Bantam core. Like it has the bigger cells, bigger than the Sagas. And so it has the bigger cell size. It has like the kind of carbon fiberglass, layup. And then on the face, it has a titanium / or a polyester / carbon weave. And so
makes it look really good.
Yeah, it looks really sharp. I guess do you want to give your take first? And then, well, I guess going into it, they're offering this in three shapes. They have an elongated, a hybrid, and a standard. And they're identified as EX for elongated, HX for hybrid, and then SX for standard. And they all have I believe it's 5.5 or maybe a little bit longer, like 5.6 inch handles, but only available in 14 millimeter thickness. So tell me about your experience with these.
So I like them. The handle's great. The impact feel was actually stiffer than what I expected because it has the polyester.
Yeah,
I was expecting a more plush feeling than it ended up being. I haven't put weight on it though, and I was curious if I weighed it up, if that's going to kind of open it up a little bit and soften up, just with more weight there to plow through the ball. I see that you have some weight up there, so you'll be able to tell me if it changed the feel at all. I played them all stock, so I liked it.
They're very light stock.
Yes, they are. They feel like they definitely need weight. And I remember Matt. I don't know if you told me or Matt told me that he was making paddles a little lighter on purpose because people are weighting up. Everybody's weighting up their paddles now, and that this is aimed at people that are playing pretty competitively anyway. So he's assuming you're going to weight it up.
No, I think that was smart. So their EX has a swing weight of 114. The HX has a swing weight of 110, and then my SX was 108. So you're right. Yeah, all
114
for elongated. I mean, for a 14 millimeter though, it's not like totally out of the ballpark. Yeah. It's kind of in your almost expected range, actually. But for an elongated shape, like in general, a lot of people are used to that kind of 118.
But that gives me some room because I play like right around 120, 122. So it gives me some room to work with that.
Yeah. Power pop. What'd you think of that?
I felt pop was good. I didn't feel like the power was like, for being a power paddle, I didn't feel like it was overly powerful. I would call it, man, there's just so many good like power paddles now. I would still call it a power paddle, but I would not put it, I'd put it like 2 rungs below like my ESQ. Like I wouldn't put it at the same power. I felt like it was close, but I felt like, and again, I haven't weighted it up, so that could change it. Then a weight, especially when I add my slice plus the weight, and I'm swinging a 9.8 ounce paddle.
Sure,
I might have different feelings.
Yeah, I agree. Not huge power, but still good power. I think more pop than power.
Yeah, okay. That's how I felt too. Like the pop felt good.
Yeah, the pop felt good. Definitely sent some stuff along where I was like, oh, okay. So you do have to make some adjustments there. I love, like, on paper, I love the idea of like the polyester weave, because I thought that might soften it up, but it's kind of a weird feel. It almost feels kind of cheap.
Yeah, it did. The impact feel was just not what I was expecting.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, and it took a second to get used to. To me, it kind of had like a cheap feel to it. Adding weight helped a lot.
Okay, that's what I was hoping.
It gave it a more familiar feel.
Okay,
so I wasn't crazy, particularly like, for whatever reason, I haven't put my finger on it yet. The HX and the SX, I'm having a hard time getting behind these for some reason. Some weight on the SX felt really good, and it started playing better. Some weight on the HX, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is yet, but there's something about it where it's just not working for me.
Okay.
The EX, however,
I like the EX, was
to me the standout shape in the series.
I agree.
The balance of it felt really good. It just carried through. You could spin the ball a little bit better. You could just get on top of it. Everything just moved more naturally and felt really good. And then I just put 2 grams on each side right here, and it just felt really nice.
Okay.
And like, it's just, usually like these shapes feel a little bit softer, but this one felt a little more comfortable and soft for whatever reason. And the EX, I'm like, okay, this, like, I can see a lot of people really liking this one. These ones, I don't know what it is. I'm going to play with them more. Hopefully I can put a finger on it, but I wasn't as crazy on these shapes. Although the standard did feel good when I added a bunch of weight. I got my new 1.5 gram tungsten on these.
Oh, nice.
So you can tell it's a little bit
thicker.
That's coming out soon.
You gotta get me some of that.
Yeah. But the EX, I think, is going to be a winner.
I think so too.
This one felt really good. I think this is, it just carried through the ball well. It felt nice. It moved. It just felt very natural. The feel was a little more comfortable. I connected with this one a little bit better. I'm still kind of getting used to them though. They feel kind of smooth to the touch, but I ran my spin tests and they were like really good. I was very surprised, but for whatever reason, like playing with them, I felt like the spin was there and accessible in the EX. Like my flicks were strong. I was able to do what I wanted there. I was getting on top of it, getting some top, but I couldn't do that with the HX. Like I kept throwing routine, like my like kind of little signature, like little backhand roll that I like. I kept sending that long and I just couldn't find the flow for that. I don't know what it was. But then I switched the EX and all of a sudden it was there. Like,
okay.
It was really weird.
Yeah. EX is definitely, I think this is going to be the most popular shape. Especially because this was aimed to be their power paddle for competitive players. Elongated is still the most chosen shape in
Sure.
that realm.
And but like in general, I think these are a more affordable power series, which I think is good. Like these are whatever you say they retail like 169 or something,
like 170. Yeah.
So with discount, that'll bring it down close to 150-ish. And so it feels,
Yeah, you can buy 2 of those.
There's a lot of power paddles that are very expensive.
Yes.
So I feel like this is a little more affordable power. The EX is, I think, the best shape in this series and something I feel like I'll be recommending. I do plan on doing a review for these. And so as I kind of gather more thoughts, we'll put those together. Yeah. Another interesting one on the EX. So it had a twist weight of 6.2.
Okay.
Which for an elongated is pretty good, but it's particularly good for how light this is and it being a 14 mil. And so the sweet spot felt pretty solid, all things considering.
Well, I looked at your x-ray. He didn't do any internal weighting or anything, right? I didn't see anything in your
I
x-ray.
can't remember. He might have done something. There's this trend going on right now where people are adding like a layer of fiberglass around the perimeter as a way to
give it some perimeter
some targeted weighting. So they'll have like the thermoforming process and they throw an extra strip of fiberglass in there.
It.
They might have done that with these. I'm not 100% sure if they did or not. So that's the fires. More information on that to come.
Moral of the story is buy some tungsten tape with your paddle.
Yeah, you're going to want somebody with these. Okay. Did you get one of these?
No.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
I messaged the guy and he has not responded.
Okay. So this is the new Gearbox Ultimate coming out in their standard shape. It's called their Hyper. That's what they call their standard. It's not like the Gearbox Pro Power where it's like shorter and skinny.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually shorter and wider. It's like a traditional standard shape. And let's see here, my swing weight, I believe, was 115 for this.
There we go.
Yep, 115. So it's even for like a standard, it's heavier, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
No.
I think 115 is still very manageable. And sometimes that little extra weight, in this case, I think it's a good thing. It helps stabilize the paddle some and gives it a little more oomph and a little more character there. And so I like the weight. I like the balance of it. And this is what they should have launched with.
Yeah. No, I dig the shape. I want to play with that.
Yeah, you need to play with it. It's pretty good. It's definitely on the power side, like the Ultimate is, like the other Ultimate is.
A little more forgiving though with the shape, and
definitely a little more forgiving, definitely more stable.
Nice.
So I ran the power pop on this 2 days ago, and I had like a pretty big discrepancy when I was doing the pop. I was like, I had some really high ones and some really low ones. I was like, what's going on? Kind of looked at my pattern. I had some down here and had some up here. I just focused on hitting everything here, and like the sweet spot on this, as soon as I was like aimed a little higher, like the pop was like way bigger consistently. So like the sweet spot on this is a lot higher.
That's funny
than your typical standard.
Yeah, it's like usually elongated's higher, and then once you go standard, it gets lower.
Yeah, normally it's kind of more in the middle, maybe even down a little bit, but not the case here. And when you look at the X-rays, like they have like their little cell thing they do, they're like little foam cells.
Yep.
So it starts bigger and then it kind of progressively gets smaller. And so that area where like their little foam cell things are smaller is where it hits hard.
Got it.
And so I think this plays much more approachable. The power's still there and it still moves. It moves way easier than the other Ultimate. The other Ultimate was just so heavy. But there's still the durability challenges around Gearbox. Like they haven't solved the problem of their stuff getting too hot.
Yep.
And so that's still a challenge for them. And that's kind of what keeps me from getting big on these paddles, particularly this one. Like I think it plays great, but how long is it going to play great for before it gets too hot? And so that's still kind of a holdup for me on those. That was it. That's all we got for Paddle, Babble, and Gear. Anything else?
Yeah. Last thing with Black Friday coming up, you got any Black Friday deals you want to talk about? You know any? Yeah.
So I put together a spreadsheet of like all of my Black Friday deals I could find, and I'll put a link in the description of all those. But there's the one for Pickleball Effect to be 20% off tungsten.
Okay. Ooh, there you go.
Yeah. So BF20
stack up.
We'll give you.
Can you stack somebody's code on top of that?
No stacking, but you can still get your commission if you push it. So 20% off tungsten on that kind of Black Friday, Cyber Monday window. But there's just too many deals to like say them all.
Oh, I know. I don't know if you just like know any like big ones. Like I know have you been drinking the Holy performance stuff at all?
Yeah, I still really like their in-game. The other stuff
in-game
is not that big on.
Okay. I was going to say the pre-workout one. I'm like, the in-game one I really like.
I like it a lot.
This is the recovery one. I like to because I worked out earlier, but they're doing 40% off for Black Friday.
That's huge.
So if you do want to try it, now is the time to try it.
Nice.
But yeah, the in-game. Somebody asked me yesterday, "What's your favorite?" I was like, the in-game one. But they are coming out with new flavors, so that might fix the pre-workout. I just didn't really like the taste of the pre-workout they sent me.
Yeah, for me, it was just the synthetic caffeine.
So,
it just doesn't do it for me.
Doesn't do it for you. But
yeah, another one, the 11624 is doing another good deal. They're doing 25% off plus code stack. So they're doing basically 35% off.
Another deal. That last sale was insane.
Dude, it was wild. They moved a lot of paddles, I think.
He told me he sold over 2,500 paddles.
Sheesh. Good for him. That's great. Be on the lookout for Black Friday. I know everyone's waiting for it. There's deals, like there's just so many. So I had that spreadsheet where it lines them all up. You can kind of plan. It has the dates and the discounts, so you can go get what you want.
Sweet.
All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you again next week.
Have a great day.